Welcome back to this week's episode of the Forward Podcast. I'm your host, Thomas Shepard.
And I'm your host, Kari.
Welcome, Kari Shepard.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Hasn't been that long, but yes, it does seem like it.
The days are long.
We knocked out quite a few right in a row, and now
Had a little break
we
for
did.
revival, Puerto Rico.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in our lives.
Yeah, busy.
Which, by the way, if you are just tuning into this podcast, you can follow Kari and I, not just for this podcast, but on Facebook, Instagram. I have an X account. Do you have an X account?
I mean, I do, but
Okay.
it's kind of incognito.
Okay. You're one of those, are you? Little troll.
I don't really want to be on there, but I want to be on there enough to snoop and see what's going on. But I don't post.
Oh my goodness.
Man, start this over.
Wow.
Edit that out.
Kara, I'm shocked at you, huh?
It's not my name.
This is,
Do you even know do you
No,
follow me?
what's your handle? Let me write this down.
Oh no way. No way.
I'm actually for real. Like, I want to know what this is because I have some hate mail sometimes, and now I'm wondering
That's not
if
from
it's
me.
you. Are you sure?
You would
Okay.
know my handle. You would know it was me, but it's not my name.
No, I would know it was
You
you.
would know. So
I
this
hope I
started
would
out
know.
with a bang.
I hope I would know who you are. Anyways, I am on X. My
Okay.
name is clearly just Pastor T. Shepard.
Yeah.
That's it. I
And
don't
if
go
you-
incognito. I
If
don't
you can
troll.
find me, you can follow me. But I'll leave that up to
Other
you.
than that, you're on Instagram. So what's your handle on Instagram?
Kari Clayton Shepard.
Yeah, so
Just
easy.
my full name,
Easy. I
so,
think mine's
yeah.
just Thomas C. Shepard. Then
Yeah.
we're both on Facebook and Instagram. Mine's open, so you could just follow. I think yours is as well.
Yeah, mine's open.
You have to add on Facebook, and Facebook I feel like is one of those that can get out of hand really fast. Like a lot of people following you
Oh yeah.
and talking.
I don't know
on
half the
your-
people on my Facebook.
Yeah, it can get
Yeah.
really bad really
Yeah.
fast.
It's okay.
So, yeah.
You guys can follow us there. I just posted zoo pictures of the girls' field trip today, so feel free. Knock yourself out.
Yeah. Also, they're like, oh, we'll just stick with the podcast.
Yeah, never mind.
Sounds cooler. Hey, we've got a really great podcast for you today. Great subject. Let me say that. And so we are going to talk about the next couple of moments. Communication.
Yes, communication. One of my favorite
Dun
topics.
dun dun. Oh, it's going to be a great conversation, I believe, because Kari and I have logged thousands of hours, literally, of counseling, and
Mhm.
it seems like whether it's with college students, teenagers, even those that are married, there is one key component that really is, or many people struggle with, and that is communication.
Yeah, I feel like this really just gets into every relationship, whether, it's everything. Teens to parents, even adult children to parents. Like being an adult and being married, but also still trying to have a good relationship with extended family.
So true.
And even with your children, with friendships, if you're single, I mean, just everything. Even within the church, if you have a close community within your church, it really, communication is vital in every single relationship that you have. And so it's definitely something we've spoken a ton about.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's something that we've worked on for 18 years. I mean, 19 if you include the year we dated, but over 18 years now in our relationship.
Yes.
And it is shocking how consistent you have to be with communication and how
like that.
continual you have to work at it. It's not a one and done. It's not like, oh, let's take this, little weekend and talk things out and we're good. It's something you have to keep doing.
But isn't it funny that is what we want, is a quick fix?
Yeah.
I really believe that we always want that. Well, just give me a pill, doc. Okay, can't we work on this for a weekend and now
Yeah.
we should have it?
I mean, we're
And
American.
We are.
Like,
Yeah, we
that's
do. That's
kind of the
so true.
culture is like
So true.
what gets me there the quickest, what can I do,
Yeah.
to
Yep.
like we want a cure, we
What's the
don't
fastest
yeah,
line?
we don't
What's
want
the
a
fastest
lifestyle,
line?
we want a quick cure.
Yep.
And with communication, it's like, okay, here's a cure and you have to do it every single day.
So true.
It's just never ending.
We were working on it just a little bit ago, Carrie and
Yeah, we
I. If you
were.
could tell, our background is different. We were over in our office area, and we got some great feedback from quite a few friends and family that were listening to the first several episodes. And
Yeah.
some of the tips we got were something needs to be a little bit warmer. So the background that you see is not just a fake background. That actually is our
That's my living
living
room.
room. Yeah, there it
And
is.
don't judge. We've still got some decorating to do.
Oh, I
We're
think it looks good. I'm
It does
looking at it
look good.
right
We
now. I
just
like it.
yeah, I'm
I like
always
it.
seeing what could be better, but it's
But
definitely
anyways, we were
cozy.
communicating
We
on
were communicating.
what's the best lighting,
Yeah.
and should we turn on this? And I do think here it looks good though. I
Oh,
kind of
thank
like
you.
that in the background. Looks a little bit more homey.
Yeah.
I am a little bit scared now because in the other room, if a kid came around the corner or if Bear did, we'd be able to see them. And
Now
now they're
the
going to be
stairs right
right
there.
there. If they come down, peek their head over, they're going to ruin this whole episode.
I put them on YouTube upstairs.
Oh, good.
They're tranced out on YouTube,
Oh,
so
yeah. Weren't we
should be
supposed to
good.
talk about social media and YouTube
We
and
can't do it tonight. Our
kill
kids
our
are all
kids' brains?
yeah. Another night.
Okay, let's jump into this
Yeah.
communicating. So let me start out, Kara, by just saying this. Uh, one of the big problems in communication for many people nowadays, the reason we are not good at it, I believe, is there's many, but two that we could just focus on real quickly is number one, social media has really created this dilemma in that we're not good at communicating face to face anymore.
No.
Everyone talks through text.
Yes.
Everyone talks through Messenger. In fact, this is the reason that I first got a Facebook. Remember, we had one together
Oh
for
my
a little
word.
while.
That's right.
We did.
We
And
had a
you
joint
kicked me off.
Facebook and
Carrie
I booted you.
hated me on that because I would always sign Thomas or like I put something cheesy on there. You did not like
Yeah,
that.
we communicate differently.
We do.
And I didn't like
Yeah.
my
It's good that we
Facebook.
have separate ones. We have
Yeah.
separate friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
We're
was a
not,
long time
we're
ago
not
though.
making fun of you if you still have a Facebook with your spouse. It's a little weird,
Maybe we
but
kind of
like
are.
you need to grow. No, I'm just kidding. It's
No,
fine.
you're
It's
good.
fine.
It's
Yeah,
all you do you. No judgment,
yeah,
as the
yeah.
kids say.
A little bit of judgment, but anyways. So where were we going?
I don't know. You were talking about Facebook.
Yes, that's right. So Facebook. The reason I got a Facebook to begin with was because so many people in ministry. That's how they communicate.
Yeah,
They don't
that's true.
call. They just. I used to get so frustrated. Like,
Mhm.
man, just pick up a phone and call. Now, honestly, I'm gonna feel like the opposite. Like, why are you
Don't call
Yeah, why are
me.
you calling me for that? You
A
could
few
have.
years-
You could have texted me that.
A few years passed and
Wow, it is
we
true.
are over the phone calls.
Yes. So most people communicate through social media, text. In business world, it's still through email. The problem with that is we've become very good at uh, trying to explain how we feel. eh, When it comes to face, we get scared. We
Mhm.
cannot do it. It's you'll wait 5 minutes, get in a car, and then shoot a text out, and it's
That's
not
true.
healthy at all. It's not healthy in a marriage relationship or at work, ministry, school. You have to learn how to communicate, and part of that is learning how to communicate face to face. Secondly, I think the world that we live in is so divided in politics, religion, the way people feel, and the Bible says, "Come, let us reason." And honestly, there's a lot of people who cannot reason anymore.
Mm.
It's my way or the
Mm.
highway, my preference, my standard, my politician.
Mm.
It's
true.
my way of doing things, and they can't even hear the other side anymore. And it's just yelling and screaming. The other day, I turned on the news, and honestly, for all those of you listening, I'm not a big news guy. I turned on just for a little while, and I turned it right back off. The commentators, they could not reason. They could not talk. They're both yelling over each other. Literally chaos. And so we do have this breakdown when it comes to communicating, and we need to fix it. Again, we're not going to get all into the how do you write an email, how do you text, but what about face to face? Karen, let's
Yeah.
talk about that
Yeah.
for a little bit. So let's talk about husband wife first. What are some problems that come in, and
Yeah.
where do you feel like a couple can go first?
Well, just to kind of piggyback off what you were saying is I think such an avenue of communication is digital is because if you want to address a problem with someone or you have something important to say, you really have to believe in it to the point of you get over your nerves. Like you have the guts, we would
Oh, that's
say.
good.
Do you have the guts to say it to my face, right? And so much of what we want to communicate is controversial or it's uh it can be combative. And back before texting and digital messaging in any form, if you didn't have the guts or if you didn't have the personality to say something to someone's face, you just had to get over it.
Right.
Do you remember those days where
Oh,
you just had to get
absolutely.
over it, right? And
For
like when we were
sure.
kids, I would get mad at a friend or we would get in a fight with somebody and my parents would say, "You need to go talk to him." And I was like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not that committed to this problem. And so I'd rather just get
They
over
can keep
it.
the Barbie doll.
Yeah, I
Okay.
was like, eh. But if I was that committed, if it was something that really bothered me to the point where I needed to communicate my feelings, like it was a personal growth and it was a confidence and I really truly believe what I'm saying is right. And I believe it enough to put my feelings aside to confront you about it. And I think that's what we're missing today. We're
That's good.
missing that component. Nobody, and I shouldn't say nobody, but a lot of the time when we should be doing that and committing to what we believe and committing to our opinion, instead we're hiding behind a screen and the things that we wouldn't necessarily self-reflect long enough on to say, am I committed to this? We'll go ahead and commit to it digitally.
Mm.
Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
it does.
Like if I want to confront you, I've got to sit there and think, is this worth my emotions? Because I'm really afraid to speak to someone about this face to face, right? So I would
Right.
really hash that out in my own brain before I took it to you. And that's the piece that we're missing now.
Right.
People don't do that. They don't go through their emotions thoroughly because they're able to just spout it off in an email and a text or whatever. And then it's like it's out there. And they really haven't even personally committed to that truth or untruth. And so I think that's a huge component that's missing. And that's something we really try to work on with each other. And it's like, yes, in our marriage too, but also in our
Mm.
friendships and things is like, do I need to really bring that up? Like, where is this on the scale?
Right.
Especially for a Midwesterner. Like, we do not like hurting people's feelings. We do not like awkwardness. And it's got to be something we can commit to. I remember one time, this was years ago in a ministry, and someone had offended us, me specifically, and I do not offend easily. So it was a thing.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think you were so used to me, letting go. You're like, well, I'll pray with you about it, and kind of move forward type of language. And I remember sitting there and looking at him and saying, I'm not able to get over this without speaking to that person face to face.
Yep.
And I remember your face of like, what?
Right.
Because it was just rare. It's just
I do
rare for me.
remember that.
And so I told him, I need your help. Like I've got to talk to this person about it because I know myself and I'll let it go, but I'll be bitter. And I don't want to bury it and be bitter. And so that was kind of a moment in our marriage where we sat down and he helped me walk through my feelings and walk through how I wanted to communicate that issue. And it worked out very well. And to this day, that relationship is restored.
Yeah.
And it's a good friendship because it was kind of that old school mentality of let's sit down and walk through our feelings on this before there's a conversation. And I think that method of communication is so lacking, but so vitally important.
Mm.
And in a marriage too. I think going through it together, sitting down and saying, I can't move forward in this marriage until, we walk through all of this truth.
Right.
What do you think?
Number one, I'm wondering who was that person that you're mad at? Because
I'll
I
tell you
know
as soon as
everybody
this
is
is
listening.
over.
Everybody's just like, wait, who was it? Was it what church?
I can't
was
say
it?
their name on here. Sheesh. All's good now. All's good.
If you want to
Do you want me to
know,
write it on this paper where
email
no one
us
can
at
see?
forwardpodcast@gmail.com. Just kidding. No, I think you're exactly right. So let's break this down for a second. There's several things you said. If it's going to be combative, there were a couple things here. This is how my pastor mind works, but you have to have some commitment. You got to have confidence, and you got to have consistency.
Did you just alliterate
You said
dialogue?
it. I wrote it down, and let me tell you,
Wow,
I'm preaching this Sunday.
I'm a pastor's daughter.
If it's
I
combative,
think in alliteration.
If it's combative, you have to be confident.
Confident.
You've got to be committed and consistent.
Look at you go. That's
Don't you love
good.
that?
Did I just write your sermon for Sunday?
I'm pretty sure you did.
Man, babe, we are knocking it out tonight.
Telling you, this is high
Fist
five.
bump.
Oh boy. Work on this communication.
We need to communicate about our celebratory hand motions.
I think there is one thing that you can miss when it comes to a marriage relationship. And honestly, if there's a teenager listening here, which we have quite a few writing in, we appreciate you teenager and college students listening as well. There's something I think you need to remember, and that is this. When it comes to communication, there is the speaking side, obviously, especially if it's something that is combative, something that you need to speak your piece, you need to talk this out. Part of that is listening. And we're not great at listening anymore. Kara, I do it. I'm sure you do it as well. We're listening to someone, but we're coming up with our own plan on what we're going to say next. And let me tell you, that is
I do it.
That's wrong. It just flat out.
It is.
You need to be able to hear someone out. Let every man be swift to hear, and that's where it starts. Listen. Be a good listener, and if someone comes at you, whether it be a spouse, and hey, we need to talk about this, I don't appreciate this, or you embarrassed me here, or we need to talk about this with our kids or our teenagers, or what about a boss or a manager? Great, say your piece, but they're going to rebuttal. And when they rebuttal, that's not a time to roll your eyes. It's not a time to huff and puff and act like a child. It's a time to listen. And I think Kari and I, over the past 18 years, it's something we have to continually work on, is not getting to a place where you're quiet and giving someone the cold shoulder, but you're just being quiet and listening to their feelings, listening to their side, listening to who they are. And Kari and I say all the time, there's two sides to every story, but you got to be willing to listen to that other side. And so when you come at it, when you want to communicate with somebody, sure, have confidence, and yes, have that consistency, and yes, be committed to the subject, but make sure you don't just unload and then act like you're going to walk away. Someone's going to have something to say.
So this was, when was it? A few days ago, you and I were in a discussion, not an argument.
Okay.
We were in a discussion about something, and I was listening to your side. And I remember, yes,
when?
I was.
I want to know.
I know. I'm about to tell you when I can remember what we were talking about.
I knew it. You can't even remember. You weren't listening at all.
I was. I don't remember anything about the conversation, but I remember this. I remember actively thinking in my head, stop making fun of me. This happened.
I'm about to give you an attaboy button, so let's hear it.
You have said that for 18 years, and I still have no clue what an attaboy button is.
Oh my.
Is that a Southern thing?
Yes.
You did? You got that in the South? A little button? It said attaboy.
Why do you have to say little? Episode 1, you say my little back. Now you're saying my little button. Okay. We need to work on our communication.
I don't imagine an attaboy button being very big.
It's probably not. All right, go ahead.
Okay,
go ahead. Sorry about that.
What was I even saying? Oh, we were having this discussion, and I was listening, and I remember my head thinking, I need to imagine that I'm him and I'm looking at myself from your point of view. And so my point is here, like, listening is not just hearing, right? It's imagining that you are the other person and that you're seeing it from their point of view. Because you can hear someone all you want, but if you don't take that next step and imagine, what if that was me? And what if I was dealing with her?
So what was your conclusion?
I was still
Oh,
right, but
there's
I'm
another
just saying.
there's another C. Conclusion.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
So you
No,
imagined it.
I
I
imagined, and
get
it did.
that honestly is hard to do, don't you think?
It's so,
Yeah,
and that's why I say I
for
remember
sure.
that moment because
Yeah.
it was really hard to wrap my head around, like letting my biases go and allowing myself to be open to your point of
Yeah.
view. And
So
the
true.
crazy thing about me, it was wild.
Yeah.
I was like, man, maybe like what if I was him dealing with me and that would be a little bit difficult. Maybe that was a little much on my
Well,
part, but man, it was hard. It was really, really difficult. But I say all that to say it is more than just hearing that person's word. It's allowing it to go into your actual imagination and allowing yourself to say, I am a grown enough adult to hear it from their point of view.
it's good. I love
Not
it.
to just hear it, but to hear it from their point of view.
Yep.
And so I think that's super important in communication too. And I honestly do it a lot with my kids because it's easier
Right.
because I have been a kid. I haven't been a
Yeah.
husband. I haven't been a
Right.
man. But
You've been a teenager,
I've been a teenager. I've been a
college
kid.
student.
So
Right.
just to take that extra step with the
It's good.
ones you love, it's important. It's really hard, but
Definitely.
it's worth it. It's worth
Yep.
it because you do immediately you see things a little bit softer.
Yeah. That's really great.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say that part of communication is time and place? It has a lot to do with,
Yeah.
I think at
Oh
times
my.
where
Oh my.
we're
Yeah.
not great at picking the right time to talk about whatever it is
Yeah.
that we're wanting to bring up.
Yeah.
And for guys out there, sometimes guys we don't quite think this through. And gentlemen, we need to. There's
Mm.
always a good time and a place, and know your surroundings, know your people, know who you're talking to, know that manager, know that
Mm.
boss, know that wife, girlfriend. If you're in ministry, knowing that leader. I say it all the time at church. It's funny how so many people want to talk 2 minutes before you're about to go preach
Mm.
a message,
That's
and
tough.
that's not a great time to communicate. Hey, pastor, just want to let you know today's our last day here at the church. Okay, thank you.
Oh.
Wonderful. Time and place.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that for a minute.
Yeah, time and place is definitely important, especially, I mean, obviously my mind goes straight to the marriage relationship because that's been my experience, but this applies to any relationship really. If you have something important to say, it should be important enough to plan. It shouldn't be something where you just shoot from the hip. And those of us with larger personalities or more colorful, should I say, it's easier for us to kind of blurt things out. But as you grow and as you mature into adulthood, it's important to say, okay, if I need to tell my pastor something, if I need to share something with my elderly parents, or if I need to teach my children, something that's been on my heart, or in a friendship, if I need to tell this friend, hey, this is something I've been really thinking about that's important to me. It should be important enough to plan.
Yeah, that's good.
You shouldn't take something that is so important to you and just, throw it on a paper plate at somebody.
Mm.
If you cooked a beautiful Thanksgiving dinner, you wouldn't serve it we would serve it on paper plates. That's our life stage. The kids never get a regular plate. Someday they will. But for Easter dinner, like we made the nicest meal and I got out our china. I got out our white china with the silver piping on it. It was beautiful. And it was important to me because I had put a lot of myself into that meal. I had worked hard on that and I wanted to present it in a way that reflected that effort. And the same is true with communication. If you think something is important and, oh, you hurt my feelings and you offended me and you, I should be more important in your eyes. Well, if you're that important to deserve that type of treatment, then it should be important enough for you to present properly. And in that way, you respect not only yourself, but you respect the receiver of your complaint or of your communication. And it might not be a bad thing, but even a good thing, can be communicated well. And I remember one time when we moved, I told my they're going to kill me for bringing this up. I told my sisters and my mom.
Oh, they don't listen.
That no worries. That we were moving to California, and I told them very flippantly over Marco Polo. And that's like an app. It's like a video record app. And I remember that really hurt their feelings. And it was because it was something that was such a big deal to them. I mean, I was leaving, the East Coast. I would be very far away. And I remember that it hurt them that I had presented that something that would change their lives in a way that felt shallow to them. And so that really impacted me. I felt bad about that. I felt like, oh man, I didn't realize, I was just so overwhelmed, and I probably just wanted to get it out and not have to deal with it, in the way that it was grieving me. But that wasn't a good thing to do. They're important people in my life, and that was an important change for them. And so when you present something, have respect and honor for yourself and for the hearer that you present it in a proper and especially in a mature way.
Yeah, so good. I think part of that is self-control as well. You're growing.
Yeah, that's so true.
If you can't control your own tongue, don't expect others to either. So time and place, self-control, control yourself. Hey, let's talk for a second about friendships.
Yeah.
Friendships obviously is a big scenario that plays out in everyone's mind. And I feel like there can be a big, it's unbalanced oftentimes. We think that friendship is someone who's always there, always supportive. Who are my friends? Who's going to support me? And, iron sharpeneth iron, and faith will are the wounds of a friend. And we forget about those verses that friends are there to help us. Friends are there to, are you trying to get me to stop talking?
No.
Oh.
What?
You keep kicking me. I was like, I just got the microphone. You've been talking most of the time.
This cord is like tangling against my leg, and I keep trying to hit it out of the way. Sorry.
It's like I literally start talking and she starts kicking me. I think it's an odd way to communicate. This is
in a big tangle.
I'll fix it in a minute.
Sorry. Where were you? What were you saying?
Okay. Back up. Attaboy button. Here we go.
Oh my. You're not getting one.
Okay. Friends, when it comes to communication with friends, number one, I would say have some friends that you really can communicate with. You can be honest with, you can get great advice from. Have those type of friends that are not afraid to tell you when you're wrong. But also those friends that are there, yes, to support and yes, to encourage. But what do you say about friendship as far as communication is concerned?
I think a quick tip that has helped us and myself in friendships is when you have something important to talk about, try to do something physically where you're going in the same direction. So a lot of times, I'll take a drive with a friend, we'll go get coffee and we're driving. So we're both seated, we're both facing the same way, we're moving in the same direction. This works too if you want to take a walk or, doing something that puts you at ease physically. I know it sounds like maybe kind of strange, but it works. It really does work, especially during tough conversations. We've done this in our marriage for many years. If we have to have a difficult conversation, we go for a drive. And instead of like sitting there facing one another and having this it feels kind of like an oppositional position. It's like a face off. It feels a little more tense just in your positioning alone. Instead of doing that, if you're facing the same direction, if you're taking a walk together, if you're taking a drive together, or even if you're, working on something together, it tends to physically kind of disarm you mentally to where it just makes it easier to say stuff, and this works great too if you're a parent, if you have children, or even if you're, a grandparent, aunt and uncle, and you're kind of the one that fills in those places with communicating with children and training them. Do something together. Put together a puzzle, play Mario on the Switch, do something. And some of the best conversations I have with my older kids right now as they're kind of developing and getting older and going through, difficult stages in school is that we, go out for a quick Frappuccino. And so while we're driving, that's when I'm bringing up these tough discussions. And that's when I'm asking lots of maybe embarrassing or awkward questions for them, but because we're doing something together and we're both kind of in the same physical motion, it's very calming. It's very disarming.
That's great.
And that's a great tip for just your friendships as well. Or even if, if you've got it literally works for anybody in your life, any relationship, is take a walk, take a drive, do something together that disarms that tension and that oppositional feel. Even just standing face to face and like kind of squaring off feels
awkward,
feels more tense.
It does.
So that's a good quick tip to
Great.
just do that with anybody, and it does help a lot.
It really does.
Yeah.
It really does. When it comes to friends, be careful about leaning or weighing or communicating in a way with people that you don't have a great relationship with. I think oftentimes in the Christian realm, a lot of times we take on that Holy Spirit type of badge to weigh into everyone's life and the way that everybody lives. And don't forget, we do have a Holy Spirit that does that for us. And so if we're going to communicate in a heavy way, make sure those people are close to us. And what about, Kari, extended family? This is one that we get often asked about because we both have really good relationships with our extended family. I get along with your parents very well. You get along with mine. Early days were back and forth, some with my sisters and then some with your family. But for the most part, there are a lot of people who do not get along and cannot communicate well with their extended family. So why don't we weigh into that a little bit?
I mean, our opinion with family, for our experience, and it's not the same. Everybody's different, and you'll have different variables in your relationships. But for us, with family, it has been our policy is just let it go. Let it go. It's family. Are you singing the song?
I thought you were going to.
I knew it.
Go.
Let
You
it
said
go.
it twice. Let it go.
Let it go. What is the next phrase? Look away in the storm or something?
Time out. Everybody in their
Don't
cars
hold
singing
it back anymore.
There you go.
I'm not holding back anymore. You would think I would know this song in my sleep.
That's so 2015.
Oh, I hate that movie.
But now all of our listeners have a great song in your head for the rest of the day. So you're welcome.
Yeah, there you go, guys.
But anyways,
that's for you.
Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. Turn away and slam the door. That's what it is.
Don't do that, but
totally opposite of what I'm trying to communicate. With our family, we are huge on the forgiveness policy, truly letting things go. There are a few things that we have approached and confronted people on, but it has gotten less and less over the years. And the reason for that is we've had less and less room to be personally offended by anything. We just don't have room anymore. It's like, oh, well, someone will say something and we'll kind of go to one another like, can you believe she said that? I'm like, you know what? I don't even have time. I can't even physically be mad about that. Like with the kids and with ministry and the moves we've had, we've just realized like the drama that it brings up to confront someone and then have to go through that whole, scene of like getting things right and everything. Again, we're just both, our podcast forward. We would rather move forward. We would rather not. And it's not to say that we don't confront them and then we're mad at them for years and we don't speak. That's not it at all.
No.
We truly do forgive and we truly do let it go and get over it. And there have been a lot of things people have done to us that have been like smaller offenses. And I'll go and tell him or he'll come and tell me. And then we're like, oh, yeah, bummer. Oh, well. And we truly do Elsa-size let it go because it's just not, we don't have the room for it. We don't have the space in our lives to harbor grudge and grief and pain that is just so trivial and silly. And
your life and your social media all weigh into that. Your body language can tell people whether you're into drama or whether you're not.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not saying that our families are full of drama, but you can have friends, you can have a spouse, and the way that you live, what you post, again, your body language, the way that you write, the way that you communicate, people need to know or ought to know sorry, babe, I'm literally about to sneeze here. That
It's okay.
you're not into the drama. You're just not into it. There are going to be some times you just got to bite your tongue
Hmm.
and love somebody through it,
Hmm.
and move on
Yeah.
and move on.
Yeah. And it's important because for us, family is very important. We don't want a bad relationship with anyone on either side. And so we just kind of naturally fell into a rhythm where we're just not going to be controversial. We're not going to argue. We're not going to spend the 1 week we have a year with his side, maybe two if we're lucky.
Right.
And then the few times a year that we have with my people, like we're not going to spend that time being angry. And it has served us well. I can
It
honestly
has.
say I love everyone in his family. I get along with everyone. I don't bear anyone ill will, and I know he feels the same about mine. And that doesn't mean we've never had words, but it just
Right.
means like I couldn't tell you what they were about. I don't remember.
This might not always work, but when it comes to communicating, make sure it might, again, not always, but make sure it's a hill you're willing to die on.
Yes, back to
There
the
there's
commitment.
there's a lot of hills that just anymore, probably in my earlier years, would have been arguing and, yeah, this is my side and
Yeah.
we're gonna fight. I'm like, who cares? Like, oh
Yeah.
my word, you do this, I do this, you live this way.
Yeah.
Romans, if you're a Christian, listen to this. Romans 13 and 14 really come into play here in a big way. And so make sure when life, listen, listeners, life is so short.
Mm.
The people that we have in our lives, we can either impact and love, or we're going to hurt. To me, I cannot name one person right now that I'm at odds with, or I'm not
Hmm.
talking to them, or I'm avoiding them, whether it be on social media, at church, work, home. No one care,
Yeah.
no one.
Yeah.
And it's because
That's
we've just
awesome.
learned that there's very few hills that we're willing to die on. And so
Yeah.
sometimes it's just patting somebody on the shoulder, and in the South we say bless your heart, but it's kind of we love you,
That's
and
awesome.
just move
Bless
on.
your
It's
heart.
communicating.
Yeah.
We're going to love you even though we don't agree on this subject.
Yeah. Something that has helped me is just I have thought before, man, I can't believe they would do that. I can't believe they would say that. And I'm taking in that offense and I'm starting to dwell on it. And then I automatically think of a few times in my life where I did or said something that it was so off that to this day, if I think back about it, it embarrasses me. And I know we all have those times.
Sure.
But I can pull up two or three in my mind that I'm like, man, I hope that person forgave me for that. I hope they forgot about that. I hope they knew I didn't mean that or that I was having a bad moment.
Yeah.
And so I automatically think of those times and think maybe that was theirs,
Yeah.
and
I've got
maybe
it.
down the road they'll think of that and think, please, I hope she doesn't remember that. And so
Yeah.
I'm going to give them that grace and mercy, which I pray was extended to me
Right.
from their side. And maybe then we both just come out at zero and that'd be great.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's a good trick too.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to add lastly here? Wow,
I
we've gone long into this
I
one.
know. Yeah. I think that's good for now. I hope
Yeah.
we've helped you somewhat in your communication skills and just some thoughts on bettering that area of your life. It is so important.
Yeah. And if you have a follow-up question, you just want to talk to us about maybe a specific situation that you're going through, man, we'd love to help. You can contact us at Forward Podcast, not the Forward Podcast, just Forward Podcast at gmail.com.
Hmm.
And we'd love to help in any way that we can. Give us a follow. And I just want to thank everybody. I feel like all podcasters like, give us a 5-star review, follow us on YouTube. You have to give us a thumbs up. And we're going to keep doing that because that's, I guess, what podcasters
That's
do.
what you have to
But
say.
I would like to say thank you, everyone who
Yes.
has been. It has been just tremendous. We're
Yeah. Thank you for the
now in
ratings, the
15
reviews.
different countries. Almost all 50 states have tuned in, and
Awesome.
so yeah, it's going far and wide now. So we want to thank you for the 5-star
Yeah.
reviews. Thank you so much for the follows on YouTube and Spotify and
Yes. Thank you.
Apple
Thank you.
Podcasts. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
You're amazing. So hopefully we'll all work on our communication skills this week.
Yep.
And just continue to tune in for some more exciting subjects to come.